And welcome back, everyone, to our continuing coverage of Winter Storm Atticus, as well as a severe weather threat across the Midwest and South. I'm meteorologist Mike Bettis, joined by our storm specialist Carl Parker. Got a lot of things that have happened this evening, a lot of damage occurring now. One long track intense tornado has happened in Manette, Arkansas. Storms rolling through again right now. This is a second storm that's had a tornado warning on it. Heavy rains coming down. This is our Charles Peak in his live camera. Monette Manor Nursing Home has been hit. The Office of Emergency Management does report there have been injuries, and they have been doing ongoing search and rescue, but this is pretty much the last thing they needed when Charles reported that the roof, portions of the roof have been torn off of that nursing home, as well as some walls that have collapsed. So they're doing ongoing search and rescue. They're now doing it in pouring rain, even some hail, as the next storm has rolled in. Let's bring in Carl. So they're doing ongoing search and rescue. They're now doing it in pouring rain, even some hail, as the next storm has rolled in. Let's bring in Carl right now, talk more about these storms that have been very intense, throughout the evening. Carl, one in particular has gone across multiple states.
Yeah, sometimes that happens when you have a tornado outbreak like this. You have one cell that is really the main event, and that's exactly what we have seen. This storm coming from Jonesboro up into southeastern Missouri, now into parts of Kentucky, also moved through northwest Tennessee. And there is a new now tornado emergency for this storm for Mayfield in Kentucky. That is Graves County under warning right now. The storm is moving northeast at 60 miles per hour. And as we look at this thing now coming through Mayfield, we talked about this moments ago, that right there is what we call a debris ball. So that is debris that is being lofted into the air. That little circle right there is the tornado, and it is now coming through Mayfield. Our hearts going out to the people of Mayfield. Just an awful night with the storm coming right through downtown Mayfield. Now I'm going to track this out as it continues to move off to the northeast here. And that's going to be coming towards Clear Springs in 6 minutes, moving very quickly again, about 60 miles per hour to the northeast. So that's going to give you just a little bit of time to get ready in Clear Springs. 11 minutes coming towards Harvey, maybe just to the northwest of Harvey. 16 minutes towards Benton, and 19 minutes Bryansburg. But again, debris ball now coming through Mayfield. Just an awful scene there on the radar, as we can be sure that there is some damage occurring right now with that storm coming into Mayfield. It's been a very long-lasting storm and just an awful night in this part of the country. Also into Arkansas right now, Craighead and Poinsett counties under warning for a possible tornado. And we're also seeing a little notch there near Marked Tree. You see that little notch that's kind of sticking out right in there? Could well be a tornado there. And let's track that forward. That coming towards Lepanto in the next couple of minutes here. Athelstan in 11 minutes, and then Kaiser in 15 minutes. And given all that we have seen tonight, please take every one of these warnings very seriously. Then to the north of that, another warning in effect for Craighead and Dunklin and Mississippi counties. Looking at a little dog leg sitting right about in there. That moving towards Big Lake and towards Blytheville as well in about 16 minutes. Then off to the north, got a severe warning now for St. Louis, and then an ongoing tornado warning just northwest of Effingham. That is Shelby County under warning. And so we're seeing a circulation sitting right about in there. That moving towards Dry Point and Prairie, as well as into Windsor, as that moves off towards the east-northeast. Then down into Kentucky, south of Owensboro, Ohio County under warning right now. Circulation showing up right there and moving towards the 165 corridor. Going to be crossing 165 and moving towards Kaufman and Beta and towards Bell's Run as well. So Mike continues to be, as we suspected, very active even well into the evening.
It really tells you a lot about the atmosphere that one particular tornado just keeps going. So the dynamics are there.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the low-level jet is only getting stronger. We've been talking about that for a while. And, when we look at the winds at 5,000 feet here, indicated by the blue shading here, these are winds of 50 to 60 to 70 miles per hour at a mile up in the atmosphere. And they're coming out of a different direction relative to the surface winds in orange. And so when you have that level of a change in wind speed, so you're going from maybe 20 miles per hour, if that, at the surface, up to 60 60 miles per hour in 5,000 feet and then changing the direction. That creates the spin in the atmosphere, which leads to these potential tornadoes. And so when we look at where these conditions are coming together through the rest of the night tonight, this is a model showing you the tornado potential, and you can see how this is going to migrate. It's going to continue to make its way farther east into Nashville through Kentucky and Mississippi, and then it's finally going to begin to wane, Mike, as we get into the very early morning hours.
Carl, thank you. Numerous tornado watches will remain in effect here through the evening. Does include Memphis and Nashville. More live coverage continues right after this.
Team, it's been a grind, but I think I've aged you well. Some might say perfect. Who's ready to show 'em who's the cheesiest?
I woke up feeling the cheesiest, Coach. Win a trip to the CFP National Championship.
It's the Sparkle and Shine sale. Get 30% off everything.
It's worse.
We are tracking all things storms tonight.
No one gets you closer than Storm Center. Weeknights from 4 to 8 here on the Weather Channel.
It has been an awful night for severe weather, and we've been watching one tornado-producing storm for well over an hour now. Let's take a look at where that storm is right now. It is south of Paducah in western Kentucky. Ongoing tornado warning here for Graves and Marshall counties. Considerable threat tag. We just watched this storm coming through the town of Mayfield. Continues to move rapidly now to the northeast. That ball right there is the tornado. That's it. Right along Interstate 69, moving rapidly to the northeast at about 60 miles per hour. And on that trajectory, we'll be coming into Benton in 8 minutes, moving into Bryansburg in 11 minutes, Birmingham in 16 minutes, and Grand Rivers in 19 minutes. Folks, please, please take this very seriously. This thing has been hitting town after town tonight. We've gotten so many reports of damage and debris, and it is continuing to have a very strong radar presentation here indicating a dangerous storm, very likely a large tornado coming right down that I-69 corridor as it moves to the northeast. So again, 8 minutes before the storm comes into Benton as it rapidly moves to the northeast. Mike, it's just been terrible to see how long this thing has been going tonight. It's been, as I say, well over an hour.
So Arkansas, Missouri, portions of Tennessee, Kentucky, 4 states being hit with that, and it doesn't really show any signs of weakening at this point. It's cycled a couple times.
Exactly, yeah.
Carl, thanks for keeping an eye on that. We've got other warnings out there as well. Want to keep you up to date on. We've got storms from around Chicago headed back through St. Louis. Severe thunderstorm warnings and tornadoes along that line, then along the Ohio River and south of there with warnings. There's a look at the threat that's going to be ongoing for hours, okay? Tornado watch is in effect here. That will include through Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi. These are all places that through the middle of the night have a risk for tornadoes. It's a fairly substantial tornado risk at that. Nashville, your watch until 2 o'clock and up around even, say, Kankakee, as far north as Kankakee, Illinois, a tornado watch for us as well. What that means is conditions are favorable for tornadoes to form or continue. So I'm going to take you right down into just north of Memphis, okay, just on the other side of the Mississippi River here, just outside Jonesboro, Arkansas, Craighead, Poinsett County, with a tornado warning here. That's an observed tornado. If you're in Caraway, Truman, take shelter right away. Over in Mississippi County, also tornado warning for us. That goes until 10:15 tonight. They're kind of overlapping on top of each other, but ultimately those storms could come across I-55 and have tornadoes on the highway. We would ask you to avoid that highway at all costs tonight. Be very, very dangerous to be on it. Dunklin County also under that tornado warning. Again, those tornadoes literally just minutes away from being on top of I-55. Tornadoes outside of Paducah over toward Madisonville. The threat extending again over to Kentucky, where the very significant threat with this particular tornado. Livingston, Lyon, Marshall County with tornado warning that goes until 10:30 this evening along Interstate I-165 here. McLean, Muhlenberg counties all under tornado warning. That extending farther east into Ohio County. So if you're in Beta or Fordsville or Hartford, these are places also you want to get into your basement if you have one, or the ground level of your home inside an interior room. A mobile home is not a safe place for you to be. A well-built, sturdy structure is where you want to go. And then storms now just southwest of Louisville. Hardin, Harrison, and Meade counties under tornado warnings currently. That's until 11:15. And that storm, if it holds together, will come across, say, I-65, may come across I-64 as well. Could threaten up maybe even I-71, depending on the trajectory that it takes. Indiana to the north of the Ohio River, Kentucky south of the Ohio River. Take it back into Illinois. The storms in St. Louis also intense with a tornado warning. Madison, St. Charles, and St. Louis County here with a storm just north of downtown St. Louis, northwest side getting hit right now. And again, to your safest place as quickly as you can. You do not want to be on an upper level of your home. Don't be on a second story. Get down low, protect yourself. An interior room in your home can offer you a lot of protection. Basement's a real safe place to be. So, Florissant, 9:51, St. Louis, 10 o'clock. Alton around 10:09, Edwardsville around 10:23. Storms over on Effingham as well, just north of Effingham. Strong line of storms that go up through Champaign as well. So all these storms have the potential to produce some damage. Shelby County under that tornado warning until 10:15. Considerable damage could happen with that. Don't see a real tight tornado signature in there. Having said that, a lot of the storms tonight have cycled, but severe winds could be an issue for us all along this line, up and down Interstate 57, so I would anticipate some damage, some uprooted trees, and some power poles that come down. Prairie, 9:58, the expected arrival time, 10:04 in Richland. Well, I want to show you some really intense video that we got today in Jonesboro, just outside of Jonesboro. This is Highway 1, and it looks like twin tornadoes could have hit here. One right in the middle of your screen, and there may even be one to the left. But you really can't see much. It's happening at night. You really can't see much until lightning illuminates the sky. Isn't that really insane? But we have had at least one long track tornado tonight, if not multiples. But hard to tell for sure, but it looks like that's twin tornadoes occurring outside of Jonesboro. Let's break it down for you with the timing. Finally, by Saturday morning, the line's a little bit thinner, a little bit weaker, still getting hit with storms, say, around Huntsville. Torcon tomorrow, a 3, Middle Tennessee, up through, say, Cincinnati, Ohio. The really intense, strong winds aloft are really favorable for these storms to really crank. Intense winds at the very least as the storm system begins to squall out. So what that could mean is 60, 70 mile per hour straight line winds with the tornado risk maybe coming down a little bit tomorrow morning. So watch that front advance everything eastbound as the low spins up through the Great Lakes. Tomorrow afternoon, you're getting hit in Atlanta, the upstate of South Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, D.C., Baltimore, then right up the I-95 corridor, middle of the day. Let's put that into motion. The future radar for you. You can see a lot of different cities being hit here with a really intense, dynamic atmosphere pulling north, warm, moist, unstable air. So throughout the day, it's the East Coast turn. We're back after this.
Pack your bags and cash back. Earn 5% on travel purchased through Chase with Chase Freedom Unlimited.
You do this for everyone?
I try. Excuse me, ma'am. Earn big time with Chase.
Welcome back as we cover severe weather for you tonight, including really intense storms with the lightning illuminating that tornado. Big rigs knocked over here. This in Haiti, Missouri. Wild storms tonight, intense storms, dangerous storms, storms that we know have already injured people. A nursing home hit in northwest Arkansas, and the Office of Emergency Management reporting that people have been injured with ongoing search and rescue happening. Please be safe tonight, folks. A lot is happening for us. The nighttime threat is going to be very, very real. And, well, look at that. I mean, it's pitch black, and then as soon as that lightning strikes, you see the tornado that is illuminated. An ongoing threat in multiple states tonight because of just a really, really almost spring-like pattern, Carl. We had Chris Bruin on earlier from Memphis. The temperature was almost 80 degrees at 9 o'clock at night in December.
It's incredible.
It's insane.
Yeah, and that's a big part of what is fueling this threat. And some of the radar signatures that we have seen tonight have been on the very high end of
Right.
what you see. I mean, you know that when you're looking at these radar signatures that you're talking about a large wedge tornado. We've gotten so many reports of debris. It's been just an awful night from Arkansas into Missouri into western Tennessee, now into Kentucky. And now there is a tornado emergency in effect for Marshall County, including Benton, and the tornado has just come in into Benton. That is it right there. That is the tornado moving through Benton right now. Our hearts going out to the people of Benton because there are no doubt it is very, very rough there right now with that storm coming through. And it continues now to move off to the northeast at 50 miles per hour. So, again, we've been saying this for a while now. This has been the same storm that has been on the ground for an hour and a half or more, and continues to have a really well-developed signature now coming towards Bryansburg. It's going to be in areas around Bryansburg in just a couple of minutes. You've got almost no time to react there in Bryansburg. 7 minutes coming into Birmingham, 11 minutes moving into Twin Lakes, and actually we just got a brand new scan there, so I'm going to move this ahead just a little bit to catch up to that. Still seeing a really well-developed ball there. That little ball right there, that is the tornado. So it's just about on top of you in Bryansburg, moving into Birmingham in 5 minutes, coming into Carmack in 15 minutes, and Buena Vista Estates in 19 minutes. So please, in all of these areas, get ready right now for a tornado to come in. This thing has been on the ground forever. It's been an extremely well-developed storm, and just so many reports of damage and debris from this thing. It's just unbelievable how long this has gone on, Mike. And, as I say, our heart's going out to all of these people. It's been a terrible, terrible night in this part of the country.
We know it's been a very intense tornado. It's been on the ground for a long time, unfortunately. There are a lot of different areas being hit tonight, too. And so I'm going to try to run through some of those locations. There have been two different lines of storms that have hammered us tonight. That initial line from just outside of Memphis to just outside of Louisville, and the second line, excuse me, coming through near St. Louis. Then another line headed over toward Terre Haute. But truly, severe thunderstorm warnings go almost all the way up to Chicago tonight. So taking you into the St. Louis area, especially the north side of town, this is a real rough night for us. Madison, St. Charles, St. Louis counties, all under a tornado warning. Wood River, likely to be on top of you around 10:02. In Hamel, around 10:27. In Staunton here, around 10:40. So listen to those times. Plan. How much time do you have before the tornado is there? Can you get you and the family in shoes, helmets, into a safe spot and be safe? They'll take you up toward Effingham, Illinois. Shelby County is under a tornado warning right now. I see a little bit of rotation right in here, about to come across, say, I-57 tonight. Could threaten us near Charleston. Severe thunderstorm warning extends east of there, so maybe the National Weather Service not necessarily seeing anything that may sustain itself. Having said that, I wouldn't take any chances. I'd be getting to a safe spot from Windsor to Charleston here. Charleston, expected arrival time around 10:37 for you tonight. Severe thunderstorm warnings extend up into Champaign. Severe thunderstorm warnings down toward Paducah. And then very active weather right along the Mississippi River here outside of Jonesboro and along Interstate I-55 tonight. So a dangerous drive on I-55 tonight. We'd advise you to not be on that highway this evening. Lauderdale and Mississippi counties here in Arkansas under a tornado warning, headed toward Osceola, headed toward Blytheville as well. Dunklin, Mississippi, Pemiscot County, all under tornado warnings right now. And then go east of there, that extends over towards, say, Dyersburg, over into Tennessee for us tonight. Dyer Lake and Pemiscot counties, including Blythefield, Dyersburg. That warning goes until 10:30 tonight, coming across I-55 and eventually coming across 412, headed over toward Dyersburg this evening. But hold your breath, folks. This is one where you have to be really on top of everything tonight, because there could be numerous rounds of storms at you, and both rounds could be tornado producing. Tyler, 9:55, the expected arrival time for you could be in Bradleytown around 10:04 this evening. Follow this storm again over toward I-69, I-64 into Kentucky, the same one that's been on the ground since northwest Arkansas. Livingston, Lyon, Marshall counties with that tornado warning. So if you're in, say, Catawba here, please get to a safe spot. You absolutely have to stay safe from this. With a tornado emergency headed your way here. Birmingham, 10:02, Twin Lakes, 10:09. And Catawba here around 10:23. That gives you some time here, especially in Catawba here. You got maybe 20, 25 minutes before it's on top of you. The threat is lasting through the evening with tornado watch that goes through Middle Tennessee until 2 o'clock in the morning, especially up through Indiana and Illinois.
Scrooge got strong in his legs and his core. And every day
Welcome back as we bring you new video of some of the damage that occurred in Monette, Arkansas. So tornado hits the Monette Manor Nursing Home. This is the view from above, portions of the roof, and oh wow, When you see that, when the lightning lights up the roof, significant damage to the roof. Some walls have collapsed in this. The Office of Emergency Management reporting injuries and ongoing search and rescue with a heavy presence of first responders there. We saw a lot of firefighters that had rolled in to this area, cars that had been damaged, but a really devastating scene in the town of Monette, Arkansas. And this has been an intense, long-track tornado that's gone through portions of Arkansas, Missouri, Tennessee, and now Kentucky. Carl Parker is with us this evening, and Carl's been talking about how this has been a very clear signature on the radar, clear as day that debris has been lofted into the air that tells you that it's been a tornado. But when you see the images like that, it just kind of shows you what this tornado is capable of doing.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking, and it's been going on for such a long time. I mean, that was what, an hour and a half ago when it came through Monette, something like that, and it's still going.
Yeah.
It is still going right now, and we still have an incredibly serious threat from this very same storm, from this same tornado. We're here into western parts of Kentucky. That's what we're looking at. We just had a tornado emergency for the town of Benton. The storm is now past that, Livingston, Lyon, and Marshall counties. It continues to have an incredibly well-formed radar signature here. That is a tornado, and that signature is at the very high end of what we see there. That little ball right there is the tornado, and this thing is as dangerous as it gets. It is now moving to the northeast at 50 miles per hour. If you are anywhere within the path of this storm, you have got to get to your safe place right now. Lowest, most interior room, as many walls between you and the outside as is possible. You want to get away from the windows. If you've got a helmet, that's a great idea as well, but you've got to take this seriously. It's moving quickly. It's moving 50 miles per hour, coming into Twin Lakes right now, moving into Carmack in 7 minutes, Buena Vista Estates in 10 minutes, and Delaney in 17 minutes. And I'm telling you, this thing, while we've seen it sort of wax and wane in intensity from time to time, it's unbelievable how intense it has been for very long stretches. And this is one of those stretches right now. Now, there's the most recent scan of the radar. So I'm going to move this ahead just a little bit. And we're still very much seeing that little ball right there. That little ball is the tornado, and that is going to be moving into Buena Vista Estates now in 9 minutes and coming into Delaney in 16 minutes. So please, please get to your safe place right now. Don't try to see it because you're not going to be able to get eyes on this thing at night, most likely. It could very well be wrapped in rain, and also is moving so quickly as it moves northeast. Now, we'll go down into parts of Arkansas. This is also getting into the Mississippi River, moving into northwest Tennessee as well. Lauderdale, Mississippi counties under warning right now until 10:15, so heads up just east of Osceola. Got a new warning on that cell, and that new warning now for Dyer, Lauderdale, and Mississippi counties. And so we're looking at that little notch right there, and that coming towards, it's going to be moving into Luxor right now, Ashport in 9 minutes, and Ripley in 24 minutes. And again, based on what we have seen so far this evening, you want to take every one of these warnings very seriously. And then also Dyer, Lake, and Pemiscot counties under warning until 10:30. Heads up there in Blytheville and Chickasaw, and also in Dyersburg. Then to the north, we'll take you up into St. Louis. Got a warning for Macoupin and Madison counties. Looking at a cell here that is just to the north of 55. Let's take a look at the velocity data. So there's a little notch that is now east of Alton, right about in there. Possible tornado there, moving towards Carpenter and Hamel, and also towards Staunton. Then as we move off to the northeast of that, and we're into southern Illinois now, Coles and Douglas and Moultrie counties under warning. Again, we'll take a look at the velocity data. And so that little red and green couplet is where we've got a possible tornado moving into Mattoon right now, coming into Lafayette in just a few minutes, and Humboldt in 8 minutes as that moves towards the northeast. Then down into Kentucky near Owensboro, we were looking at a tornado warning here. That has been allowed to expire. But I want to talk about some of the ingredients here because they are really, really off the charts in some ways for this time of the year. You've got very warm and humid air now coming up. I mean, we heard from our reporter, Chris Bruin, tonight, our meteorologist, Chris Bruin in Memphis, that it was 78 degrees when we talked to them. And so it's just really, really, there's just a tremendous amount of fuel for these storms. And you see how that environment is changed in Nashville. It was actually cool for a lot of the day today in Nashville, but that's changing. That increasing instability is now moving in, which is why you've got a tornado threat and you've got some strong cells now off to your west. So heads up in Nashville. Might be one of those nights where you want to stay up and try to get a good sense of what's going on. And then you notice how the instability really does drop off as you get farther north, but it is also increasing up into parts of Indiana, for example. Now, another part of this is the low-level winds. And so when we see our winds coming out of the south here at the surface, that's the surface wind right there. And then our winds coming out of the southwest at about 5,000 feet up and a lot faster. That low-level wind shear is what is really amplifying this tornado threat. These are winds of 50 to 60 to 70 miles per hour at 5,000 feet, giving us that tornado threat. And so the model tornado potential is showing us that it's going to be narrowing as we go through the night tonight, but will continue to move east into northern Mississippi, into parts of central Tennessee. And so it's going to be a long night in a lot of areas, Mike, as we continue to watch this threat.
It's sad, really. I mean, we got to be smart about this, but you know that there are going to be places that are going to be hit. Unfortunately, it's just going to be how it is. For a lot of you, what you need to be aware of is what the threat is continuing through the night. Carl was alluding to it there, showing us how the tornado potential will be there the next couple of hours, then begin to slowly wind down. But ultimately, this is happening. Bad time of day. A lot of us are going to bed tonight, and you're looking at this threat, and you're thinking, this could get pretty scary. Indeed, it could. So have a way to be alerted, whether it be the alerts on your mobile phone, whether it be a weather radio. Maybe you're just going to check in periodically on the TV or the radio, whatever it may be. You can see 3 o'clock in the morning, really intense squall lines are still hammering us here across the Tennessee Valley and point south from there. There'll be kinks along that line that produce intense tornadoes. So there won't be a lot of places that'll be spared by the severe weather. And even if you don't get a tornado, you might get intense straight line winds as the jet stream is really intense and is going to be pushing everything along here along with the surface front. So there's a look at Memphis. And the storms are getting closer and closer. You can see the squall line that comes in west side of town around midnight tonight, then comes racing through Tunica and Memphis and Millington after that. And you may be have storms ongoing here for a couple of hours. 4 o'clock in the morning, finally, the intense stuff is on the east side of you, but you're getting hit in Oxford and Jackson along, I say, I-22, I-40. Those storms eventually racing over into northern Alabama and then middle Tennessee. Let's take you there. Nashville, how about our timing? Next couple hours, fine. 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. This is your prime sleeping time, right? You are dead asleep at this time. Do not let this weather catch you by surprise. This could be severe weather that could include tornadoes at that time, middle of the night. And then the rain begins to let up by around sunrise tomorrow as the strong storms then push to your east and along I-24 and I-40. So Nashville. I wouldn't even be surprised if they come in maybe a little bit earlier than 3 a.m., but look at these temperatures. How crazy is this that our nighttime 3 o'clock in the morning temperature is 70 degrees in mid-December in Nashville? So just one of the dynamics in play here to keep the storms going. Warm, moist, unstable air that has the potential to really spin up severe weather. Paducah up toward Evansville, a couple of lines of storms coming through for us. There could still be stormy weather for us around 3 o'clock in the morning. So after the first line goes through, don't think, okay, we're done. There could be more that comes in on the back end tomorrow morning. At sunrise, though, you're in better shape. Let's take you up across the Ohio Valley. A lot of heavier rain and storms are hitting us here from near Louisville and Cincinnati, up around maybe Lansing, Michigan, Toledo. Some of these storms could also be severe. We've had a line of severe weather come up through even south side of Chicago here, so wouldn't rule out some of these storms being severe thunderstorm warned or even potentially tornado warned. So keep in mind, through the overnight hours, we're going to have some issues all across the Midwest here. And then there's the snow. On the backside of all that, so with Winter Storm Atticus, where in some places we've already had a foot of snow in Minnesota and then Wisconsin. There's our threat tomorrow. A lot of this happens first half of your day, mostly before lunchtime. Toward count of 3 from, say, Huntsville, Alabama, Nashville, Bowling Green, Lexington, Cincinnati, maybe a Chillicothe, Ohio. For Indianapolis, storms happening for us midnight tonight. Could be intense, could potentially produce tornadoes. That's north and south side of town. Another line comes through around 2 o'clock in the morning. Same thing. North side in town, south side of town. Severe thunderstorms and tornadoes are possible. Finally, by around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, the storms have moved out, but it's going to be a very rough couple of hours for us here. For Huntsville, Alabama, let's time it out for you. Your timing's a little bit later now. That will include maybe 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Here comes some more scattered storms. The really intense stuff happens right about the time the sun comes up tomorrow. The showers tapering by 11 o'clock. Front comes through, and your temperatures start to cool throughout the day. The daytime temperature, the high temperature, probably be early in the morning. As the front comes through, you cool off. All right, that's the severe weather side. We kind of hinted at what's happening with the snow. Winter Storm Atticus is doing a number on us here in some spots. That includes right here in Denver. Now, we didn't get a ton in Denver. We really didn't. We ended up getting just 0.3 of an inch of snow. But what it did is it ended our snow-free streak. We've gone 232 days without snow, so we're tying our all-time record snow-free streak that we set back in 1887. It's pretty, right? But now Winter Storm Atticus is really hammering us in the Midwest. We've had very intense snow bands, especially Minnesota and Wisconsin tonight. Winter storm warnings in effect. There's the low. It actually hasn't been all that quick in moving out. So we had prolonged periods here of snow, especially central and southern Minnesota up through central and northern Wisconsin. Minneapolis, let's zoom right down in. Moderate snow still coming down, 1 inch per hour. Snowfall rates in Burnsville, reports of 14 inches of snow already on the ground and still coming down. We could get several more inches. 29 right now in Minneapolis. Plenty cold enough to support the snow. You can see the darker bands of blue on the map here. That's where you have a little bit heavier snow that's coming down for you right now. Madison, Milwaukee, Chicago, warm enough where it's all liquid for you right now. Chicago, we're almost 60. Significantly colder in Madison, but still too warm for it to be snow. You can see you've got to go farther north, La Crosse, Eau Claire. These temperatures are freezing or below. A lot of blue dots on this map indicating locations where the snow has been coming down in intense snow. I think there'll be a lot of places where double-digit snows will be common. So there's a look, and I think some of the most intense snow is still going to be in this pocket right here. That's going to start to move out of Minnesota here, I think, in the next couple hours, but still continue through the night in northern Wisconsin, up through northern Michigan and the UP of Michigan. There's that snow again, not in any hurry necessarily to leave. So you went to bed tonight, or you're going to bed tonight, you're going to see the snow, you're going to wake up in the morning. It's going to be a winter wonderland. There's going to be a lot of snowball fights tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of snowmen making. There's going to be a lot of sledding going on here. But interesting to see how it's rain on the front side, on the east side of Lake Michigan. It's snow on the back side, west side of Lake Michigan. Just a real contrast for us here, showing you the real intensity of this storm, a very spring-like type of event where you have the severe weather we've been talking about, and then you have the really cold air on the backside of the low. How much more snow to go? In some pockets, another 3 to 5. But notice this up here, maybe in the UP of Michigan, 5 to 8 still to come. How much do the lakes play a role in enhancing some of that snow? We'll find out. But I think, Carl, that 10 inches plus is going to be very common in a lot of places here, but showing that future radar was really picking up on snow on one side, severe weather on the other side. Just really shows you how potent this entire low is.
Yeah, very spring-like storm. It really feels like that. And, we have this ongoing tornado warning. It's just unbelievable. Every once in a while, we've been doing this a long time. A storm will hit you like a ton of bricks. And, this thing is just awful, this thing that has been going for so long now. We've got warnings in Livingston and Lyon counties, observed and considerable threat tags there. And also a new warning now for Caldwell and Christian and Hopkins counties. Same story there, considerable threat tag. That is the tornado, that ball right there, that is now south of Route 62. It is moving towards the northeast at 50 miles per hour. It continues to be incredibly dangerous, coming towards Buena Vista Estates in 7 minutes, Delaney in 14 minutes, and moving into Princeton in 19 minutes. Claxton beyond that, Dawson Springs offerings beyond that. In all of these areas, you should be preparing for a tornado. This thing is not showing any signs of giving up. It's been going on for an incredibly long time. This is the velocity data here. And take a look at these two little white pixels there, those white bins, as we call them. That's an outbound velocity of 141 miles per hour. So that is the level of wind that's showing up on the south side of that tornado. And we are also seeing this debris signature as well. I mean, we've been looking at a debris signature for, an hour and a half more, 90 minutes or more. We've been seeing debris associated with this one tornado, with this one thunderstorm that's producing this tornado. And that debris signature, again, south of 24 and Route 62 right now, and moving towards the northeast at 50 miles per hour. Looks like it's going to be coming right into Buena Vista Estates in 7 minutes, and Carmack before that. We'll have more on this incredibly dangerous situation in just a few minutes.